The annual rivalry game has been canceled due to an increase in COVID cases within the Michigan program. Due to Big Ten rules, if the Buckeyes do not play a game this week, they would be ineligible to play in the conference title game. Here was their coach, Ryan Day, yesterday.
You know, we have to take a hard look periodically at all this stuff. And I think that this is one of those situations. And if we don't quite get the games we need to get into the championship game, then I think that needs to be looked at hard, just like anybody else in the conference.
I don't believe that anybody, Ohio State or any other team, should just be punished because of decisions we made by looking at 8 games and saying we should play 6 and not knowing the effects of what happens to them and their team versus what others, because of what happens to our team, affects them.
All right, Heather and Paul got up with us early here along with Desmond. And Heather, here it finally is. We've been talking about this possibility, it feels to me like, for quite a while, and now it is in front of us. Ohio State doesn't have a 6th game on its schedule right now. That can only change today, right? Wednesday is the deadline that they would add another game. So tell me what we should expect to happen today for Ohio State.
Greeny, as we sit here, the athletic directors in the Big Ten are supposed to be meeting right now virtually and discussing whether or not they should lower that benchmark to 5 games. I think that the chances of that increased yesterday because it seems a lot more difficult for Ohio State to find an opponent in the Big Ten to replace Michigan. And I say that because within hours of Michigan canceling, Purdue announced that it was canceling its practice on Tuesday. And just when it looked like Indiana might be freed up to play the Buckeyes, Indiana canceled its practice on Tuesday. So the Big Ten can certainly get creative in its scheduling. Maybe they say, hey, why doesn't Maryland play Ohio State? And they can make up that game that was canceled. But then what do you do with Rutgers? So I think it's on the ADs right now to talk it out, see what the best option is, and they could certainly decide to change that rule.
Paul, what should they do?
I think they should find Ohio State a game. That way they don't take all the heat about changing the rules, even though that's not really a big deal, as we've said here a couple of times. It just makes more sense. Give Ohio State a legitimate route into the Big Ten championship game. It really is fairly simple. So you're worried about hurting feelings. The Big Ten has hurt feelings from the beginning. When they shut down, they made everybody mad. When they came back, they made some people mad. That should not be the issue any longer. You have to be flexible. And I don't know why it has taken until Wednesday to get this figured out. I know Heather said, and she's correct, that the Big Ten athletic directors have to meet today. But, I mean, Greeny, I think we started talking about this 10 days ago. How come we're ahead of the Big Ten on what they should be doing?
Yeah, I mean, look, this has been a problem all the way through. Now, again, they're up against it. Desmond Howard, how do you think this should play out?
I think that they should try to find Ohio State a game, and I think that they will find Ohio State a game. When you look at the comments coming out of the Big Ten from different athletic directors, you can tell that everyone's trying to finagle a way to figure out how can they get Ohio State into the Big Ten championship game, because they want to get them into the college football playoff, because that's the Big Ten's best team. Even Barry Alvarez, Wisconsin's athletic director, he came out publicly and made that same exact statement last week. So it's not like they haven't thought about this last week or, before this. They understood what was ahead of them. They knew what was coming. They've seen how many teams have had to cancel practices and games because of COVID. So they knew what was looming around the horizon for the Buckeyes. I believe that they're prepared for this and that they will make a statement at some time today.
Heather, you know what the whole world went crazy talking about yesterday. Ohio State doesn't have a game this weekend. They're 4 in the country. Texas A&M doesn't have a game this weekend. They're 5 in the country. There's literally no chance of that, right?
Okay, so as we sit here in a pandemic and it seems as if anything is possible, I'm not going to completely eliminate it, but it's a rule in the Big Ten that you cannot play non-conference games to fill out these schedules. I would be shocked if they did that and changed that at this point. I want to say there's literally no chance, but again, look, we saw BYU travel 2,000 miles to play Coastal Carolina. But look, it's a rule. They can't play non-conference games.
Paul, should it happen? I got 30 seconds. Paul, should it happen?
I would love to see it happen. There's not that many great college football games this weekend, Greeny. I mean, other than the Army-Navy game, all the contenders are pretty much gone. So it would be fantastic. But Heather is 100% correct. The odds of it are infinitesimal, maybe below that.
Yeah, again, it's the game everyone would love to see. It would be the play-in game. You know, it would be like the first game of the playoff. We could settle it now. It's not going to happen, but it sure is fun to think about.